And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. It's orange!
145!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Decollage.
Amazing!
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You said. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well, hello everybody. It's an exciting day, finally. We're expecting Ship 29 to be lifted atop of Booster 11 for Flight 4's Fullstack, which is always great news because this is progress towards what should be another exciting launch of the world's biggest, largest, most heaviest and most powerful rocket ever in history, which is never a boring thing. So, we're obviously live on a dedicated stream for this event. We do know they are very close to lifting Ship 29 because we've been watching it on Starbase Live for the last few hours, and we do believe that everything's in. In fact, I can introduce who else is on with me, Mr. Ryan Weber. Maybe you could say hello and give us a status update on where we stand right now.
Yeah, so basically, Ship 29 in the chopsticks. Chopsticks are already taking the weights, stabilizers are in, your ship QD is out, the klaxon's been going for almost an hour now, so SpaceX is pretty much ready to stack this thing. We're just waiting for that klaxon to end and the ship to lift up off the stand.
We can actually see there in this view, it's a great close-up view. Those are the stabilizers, and they have little stabs on the end which basically link into the ship, and that is how they stabilize it as they lift it on chopsticks. So we are expecting this lift to happen at any moment. We'll keep a very close eye on it. If you do have any questions in the meantime, you know what we're like here. We're interactive, so you can ask any question you like. It doesn't matter if you're a member, or your first time here as a guest, whatever. It doesn't matter. If it's a good question, we'll try and answer it. So if you do it at NASASpaceflight in chat, followed by your question, we'll go into a special panel and we'll then try and select them out. We won't be able to answer every question, but sometimes people ask the same kind of question and we'll kind of round it up in that one question we get and we'll answer it best we can. But we are keeping a very close eye on Ship 29 right now. We will see the movement. It'll be very obvious when it does move, and then we'll see it rising up and being brought over and stacked on Booster 11. I wonder, based on our previous experience, Ryan, if this will be
Well, it's going.
That was almost an Alex moment there, where you, Chris, I'm interrupting you because there's an event happening. So we are seeing a lift. This is the time this very well for us. There we go. It is in the air. So this point in time is where I take a screenshot and I post it onto X with a link to the YouTube channel, because that is one of my part of my jobs here, is where I make sure that everybody, especially those who don't have notifications working properly, because you know what YouTube's like, it's very important we have alternative ways of alerting you to an event or a live stream or something like that, and that is what I'm doing right now. There we go. I have posted the tweet on X. But also, this is also going to be a fun event, because not only are they making it full stack, and we do like full stack, let's face it, but I do believe we may be able to leak the first views of a Flight 4 patch, which Pauline has created. You know, from our first 3 patches, Pauline does an amazing job with the graphics on these patches and the merch that goes on it as well. We are expected to release that once we get to full stack, so do not go anywhere. I'm sure you won't anyway, because you're here for a full stack, you want to see it till it gets to full stack. But that would be something we'll be providing later. Going back to what I was going to ask Ryan, is from our previous experience, this stacking does not tend to always mean that's it. Next thing we'll see is a wet dress rehearsal and a launch. There's probably potentials for destacks. There's potentials for taking the hot stage rings off, like they did with the first time they had a hot stage ring on the booster. There's potential for all sorts of things here. So what's your guess at what do you think this will be? Do you think they'll stack it and maybe bring it back down again before they do wet dress rehearsal, or do you think they'll go straight into the wet dress rehearsal after this stacking?
They could do either. They could stack and then, well, kind of just make sure everything works and then destack and whatnot, because we still don't know what, kind of what went on with 31. Because they seemed all ready to stack this thing and get a wet dress rehearsal done this week, but I think things got delayed a little bit with what happened with 31. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. As there was a recent interview or whatnot with Kathy Luters, and she has stated that they're going to go ahead and try for a wet dress next week, which means that this may not be the wet dress stack. They may stack and then destack. There's always that possibility. We do know that there's more work to be done on this ship, as we can see right here. The heat shield isn't done yet. Most likely it'll have to be rolled back and finished. Which it's not the end of the world. They really want this heat shield to work because they want this thing to survive re-entry. If it survives re-entry, they may be able to avoid a mishap investigation, and that's good for all parties. So, fingers crossed on that.
You actually covered a question there we had in the queue, which was from Kaylin, who asked what's up with the missing tiles on the ship. That is pretty standard. We are seeing lots of improvements with the ships in progression with the TPS. It really is impressive how they're finding a sweet spot for the application and the installation of these tiles. I go back to I've taken 8 minutes for me to mention it, but the shuttle experience of TPS, you tend to really get an eye for what their states are like. A fun story is that you could tell the orbiter without seeing the name, even though they're identical, when they were doing the belly up shot in the VAB transfer aisle, because they had patterns. They're almost like fingerprints of TPS, where the darker tiles were the newer tiles, so you could see the patches they replaced. It's starting to get a little bit that with Starship, because they are all the same color right now, but they're all the same darkness of black, shall we say. But when they start doing the reusability, we might be able to start seeing those telltale signs of which ship is which without knowing or seeing the name on the side of decal. It's interesting how that'll work in the future. I'm personally looking forward to that. I will also just add that they have stopped, it seems. Ryan, I think that is something they usually do. Is this a point that you've seen before where they lift it off the stand and then they pause for a while?
Yeah, they've done that before. They'll pause for a little bit, make sure everything's okay, make sure everything checks out data-wise with the ship or this, chopsticks and everything like that. Once they're okay with everything, then they'll continue to go up. And we know they can go up relatively quickly, so we're just waiting for them to go back up. Now, if for some reason something doesn't check out, then of course they'll go back down. But we're hoping, that doesn't happen. So
very good. We've got a lot of support. I mean, again, we do these streams because they're events. We've got the cameras. We've got the ability to live stream it with some great views. We do it because that is what we're about. We're a news organization. So we were going to do this anyway. We don't do it because we think we might get some super chats. It really isn't the case. And then yet people, especially people I even recognize their names now, support. And I think it's great because most of the support becomes way of community thing, which is gifted support, which is gifted memberships where people provide people who may be guests or people who may be long-term viewers of this channel, but they can't go out buying memberships on YouTube channels. It's not disposable income to spend on. Yet they get a free membership thanks to the generosity of our community. So I'm going to read them out. And I'll make sure I read them out because I think it's really nice. Coco Cat's gifted a Red Team membership. Ryan gifted 5 Red Team memberships. D.A. Swanson gifted a Red Team membership. RC Horseman, I always recognise that name for obvious reasons, gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Derek S. became a flight engineer member, which is a really high level of membership. You get all the benefits and more with that membership level, so that's great. Thank you for your support, Derek. MacGyver gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Revhead gifted a Red Team membership. Ninja Decimator, ping, 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 as Jack would do, has gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Grishu has gifted a Red Team membership. That's great. Amazing support. There's more. I'll read them out later. I don't want to be just constantly reading out memberships because people are here for the event, which is hopefully within the next, 30 minutes or so? Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. We'll see Flight 4 as a full stack vehicle.
And there it goes.
It's
up.
Almost like dual listening.
Yeah, right? And up it goes. Now it's fully lifting. So checkouts were good, and it looks like we are go for stack. So
I wonder also if we'll hear if the chopsticks are still doing their whale song, which is what I describe it as, with a squeaky lift. It is kind of hilarious, the noise it makes when they're doing these stackings. So I wonder if we'll pick it up on a microphone. If it's still the case, remember, they've done quite a lot of modifications with the chopsticks recently, not least on one arm, which now can move a lot faster than previously. And I assume, Ryan, this is all modifications catering towards the potential catch on Flight 5.
Yeah, a lot of the upgrades they've been doing to the chopsticks has basically been robustness, so covering stuff like just kind of covering up the wiring, putting in conduits, upgrading the speed of things, stuff like that. I think there's a few more things they'll have to do, but as of right now, they're just gearing up to try for a catch. Either Flight 5, I still think it's going to be Flight 6 that'll happen on at the earliest. I don't think Booster 11 will be perfect. Though one thing that Kathy did mention is that they are looking to improve their GNC, so their guidance, navigation, and control software for the booster after what happened with 10. So we're looking at that. So it kind of goes. That might be a hint that it might have been a slight software problem as to what caused a 10's demise, or at least part of it. So, that bodes well for 11. They're always learning. And they always seem to when they run into a problem, they always seem to be able to come up with the solution pretty quickly. So,
I find this view personally fascinating because we'll start to see the engines on Ship 29, the 3 RVACs and the 3 in the middle sea level engines. So we're going to... They've been working so well, by the way. I've been very impressed that on Flight 3, they just burn all the way through. Right through. And again, you can't really test these engines, the RVACs, for example, in the right environment because they are tested individually at McGregor. McGregor Live shout out there because we do see them being tested live, and they are impressive engines, but you only get flight experience to get the real data, and that's something that they've obviously proven has worked very well because the performance of Flight 3 was very impressive, I must admit, and I'm very confident now once we get through staging we're going to see a full burn of what is technically a second stage. The ship is the second stage. If you take the analogy of the Falcon 9, the booster is the big silver thing on the left, and the upper stage is the big black thing on the right. If I can grind it down to maybe new people who might join us here. And the difference between Falcon 9, which has been a champion of reusability, shall we say, is that the second stage of Falcon 9 does not return. It does not return for reusability, it returns for deorbit burn. It's not reused again. Whereas with this, it's fully reusable. Both the booster and the ship are projected to be coming back for reuse, and that's where the game changer is. If you take in the up mass capability, the variation of missions it can do, and you bring in the entire vehicle back as well, in the case of ships that will be brought back, because they'll have tanker ships and such, won't they, which will stay on orbit. But it really is fascinating, this vehicle. If they can get the cadence up and it works without too many issues, they'll have bumps in the road in the future, all rockets do. But the potential future of this rocket is incredible, really, when you put it down on paper.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting going forward with this. I can't wait to see Starship become as commonplace as Starlink is these days. That's going to be a crazy time.
Question from Bill P, who might be getting ahead of himself, but he asked, I know it's, in fact he says, I know it's early, but have we seen any deliveries of FTS charges to the bunker yet?
Not that I've seen. So yeah, I haven't seen any new FTS charges come into to Starbase yet. We're still a ways away because we don't have any. We don't really have a license yet. As far as we know, the mishap investigation hasn't been put in. Although one of the things that Kathy even talked about is they're looking to hopefully launch after Memorial Day, which in the case of also Christian Davenport, even tweeted out that's it's looking that might track. So, what, 2-3 weeks ahead? I'm thinking first second week of June would at the earliest would be my guess. So fingers crossed. Be cool. Can't wait for this next flight.
For context, people who may be new to this, there is a certain field of reporters who are very, very good in the spaceflight arena. It is very impressive, the reporter pool, shall we say, the general reporter pool. It goes back to the shuttle era where you got questions from reporters, Dave, from the mainstream media, who knew what they were talking about. It's impressive compared to some other subject matter, shall we say. But Christian Davenport works for the Washington Post. He's very, very, very good. As you can imagine, he's working for Washington Post. He is extremely good. So when he says something like that, it's a retweet from me for a start, because I know for a fact you can take it to the bank. So it's all very good signs that we're progressing. I still think June is more likely. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's going to be sometime in June. Don't know exactly when. It'll be in June. As I was saying, it's probably like first or second week, somewhere along those lines. But obviously, things are always fluid when it comes to the Starship program, when it comes to the availability, or I should say, when it comes to when a mishap investigation is completed, or when the license comes out, or when even the vehicles are ready. Because if you look at 29 right now, 29 is definitely not ready to fly. It's still got heat shield work to be done. And there is that possibility that SpaceX may need to look at it in regards to what happened with Ship 31. There's that possibility as well, because as we know, they rolled Ship 31 back into the high bay last night. They're waiting to place it on a stand even right now in the high bay. And once that's done, SpaceX will pull that ship apart and take a look at it. It'll be interesting to see what happens to that ship. The one thing I've always speculated about with that is, unless SpaceX has some sort of breaker system or fuses to help protect electrical systems in these vehicles, that arc and short was powerful enough to fry everything on that vehicle. So the hope is that they do have some sort of surge protection, but if they don't, that vehicle may be out of commission for months.
Yeah.
And SpaceX may be a little wary, wondering whether or not if that was an installation build error, or if it is a design error, and they are worried about 30 and 29. There's always that possibility. So SpaceX will have to are going to do their own investigation into it, and they will decide whether or not what they got to do with their other ships. But it is a delay to Flight 6, which, if there really is a lot of damage to it, my guess is they will. I won't want to say rush, but they'll want to get 32 finished quick, so they don't have a large gap.
It's also a commonality thing. People wonder. And I've seen questions, in fact, asking, well, it's just that ship. It shouldn't affect anything else. It is a history, not only with the space shuttle, but also, as Alex was pointing out on the Raptor side yesterday, that they did it with Dragon as well. If they find a fault on a vehicle, or something on a vehicle is off nominal, they will check the fleet for commonality, because these vehicles are technically the same. Mm-hmm. So it happened with the space shuttle program. You would have a problem with Atlantis. Which never happened because Atlantis was the best shuttle. But we'd have a problem with Atlantis. They would immediately check the same area, the same component on the other two vehicles, on Discovery and Endeavour. It was a thing. That's where I immediately thought commonality would be in play here. So it'd be a completely normal thing to check it. The hope is it was just something awry with 31. And so far, we're not seeing anything like Ship 29 being rolled back to production site for inspections. We're seeing it being stacked. So that's probably a good sign. And right now, we are about 10 minutes away, I think, from it starting to swing over to align with booster.
We're pretty close. I'll say this. The chopsticks were pretty quiet going up, and then they hit a point and they started their whale song again. There it is. Yep, there it is. There's the whale song.
I can't hear it in my ear, which is unfortunate, because I will have to play this back and listen to the the song of its people, the song of the chopstick whales. But it's obviously shows that they are confident with this as it is, because when I first heard it, I thought, well, they're going to get someone to grease those lines at some point, or those pulleys. But obviously, they're obviously confident with it as it is. That's probably a thing now. Maybe we'll just see that. We'll hear that forever now.
Yeah. Well, I hope they eventually come up with a system to lube and grease the bearings in there. Can use the same kind of stuff that we use in the landing gear of 37s, which is it's basically like lithium grease. It's called BMS 3-33 is what it is. It's the number for it. That'd be good enough for it. If it's good enough for a landing gear, it should be good enough for the chopsticks. So, yeah.
Actually, on your professional background with planes and whatnot, JR asked a question that might be up your street. Does anyone else notice potential problems with the electrical cable dress that, in a stabilizer close-up, spare wiring exposed to hostile environment conditions?
I'll just say this. Just look at pictures of planes' wheel wells, and you'll give an answers to hostile conditions. When a plane is taking off, it's picking up any of the oil, skydrall, dirt, salt, whatever is on that runway. It's picking up onto those wheels, and those wheels are then spinning as it goes up into the wheel well. Now, what happens is usually before it gets in there, the brakes activate and stop the wheels from spinning as they go up into the wheel well. But sometimes it doesn't always do it right away, and you just have stuff that's just flung all over the wheel well and everything.
Very nice. By the way, I can do
wires all over the place.
I can do what Alex and you do to me and interrupt by saying,
yeah,
the ship quit disconnect is moving, the arm is moving.
There you go.
Into place.
Yeah,
normally it's me with the middle of an answer, and Alex will go, Chris.
Well, they're definitely doing exactly as they normally do. You know, getting right up there. Ship QD coming back in after the ship passes it, then that'll come back over. Ship will then translate over and come back over the vehicle. I'm kind of curious to see how lined up the two vehicles are going to be, especially after all the work's been done on everything. So
you know what? Maybe I missed a memo here, or it's just the angle of the camera. But is it actually racing as well? Or is it just moving left to right, and it's the angle?
The ship QD?
Yeah.
It's just moving left to right. It doesn't rise. Yeah,
that was an optical illusion. That was really making me think twice. I'm thinking, I never knew it could go into both directions, but obviously, yeah, it's the camera angle. The camera we're looking at right now is zoomed right in from ground level, as you can imagine. But this is great. We've got the view of the engines there as well. This is a wonderful shot.
Speaking of plane stuff, you can see on 29's flap there, you can see the static wicks that are there. They put them back on this vehicle as well. It seems like they really need a way to discharge any static buildup as it flies. So they will never survive re-entry, but apparently it looks like it's needed for initial ascent. So I'm kind of curious what SpaceX will do to solve that in the future for reusability reasons, because you would have to replace those every single time you fly, reusability wise. So the SpaceX is going to have to come up with a way to discharge their static buildup without needing static wicks on the flaps themselves. They'll need it somewhere else, somewhere away from the plasma stream during re-entry.
Moving on to some very important questions, some pressing questions I think we should really address. Plutonium239 asks, how many pounds of bacon grease will fit inside a Starship? Okay, thank you, Plutonium. I think you're trying to invoke Jack into the stream there, but honestly, I wouldn't even... There'd be somebody out there. We've had some how much capacity in fun items can Starship hold, and people have actually calculated it, which is kind of fun because people do like their spreadsheets. Flippers79, Flip Diaz, who I just call Flips. Gifted Red Team membership, thank you, Flips. Brit Dad, Elon stated that the launch will be in 3 to 5 weeks. Are there any clues why? Well, we have kind of covered where we're going with this. It's also, first of all, quite indicative that Elon has not done his previous very ambitious timelines. He's now aligned very closely to what we all think and what has then been published by SpaceX, such as the recent overview by Kathy Luders to the local media. Yes, I think it was yesterday, it was published today. So we are thinking probably at the very earliest end of May, but if not more likely June. The reasons being is they are taking their time, as stated by Elon, to make sure everything is right, especially with the TPS on Ship 29, because the next objective, which is Flight 4, well, there's two objectives, but the main one is to try and get Ship 3 re-entry, which I am personally looking forward to like you can't believe, because we saw the views, the onboard views from Flight 3, which wasn't even a nominal attitude. That's why it was coming after first, wasn't it? If it comes back, because of the size of the thing, this is what they were pointing out, the size of the thing on the Starlink downlink, they're hoping to keep the views of the plasma interactions live. Which
Translating over now, by the way.
Very good. Yeah.
We're interrupting each other all the time.
Always, no, Ryan, always do it. Always interrupt, because we are watching this live stream, but we're just talking over it at the same time. So we definitely cover the milestones in between. There's a potential, because it's larger surface area than the space shuttle, you're going to get a different kind of potential there. So I am eagerly looking forward to a nominal re-entry with Ship 29 and seeing how long we keep the views up, because we've never seen it from the outside. These re-entries from the outside live, it's going to be incredible. I am so excited about that. But that is the main objective, by the way, just to answer the question. That is the main objective of why they're taking the time. They want to get the TPS in the best possible situation that will allow for mission success. And by the way, the second objective is to bring Boost 11 back down for a soft landing on a virtual tower in the ocean. And if that is a pinpoint landing and they're hopeful about it, Elon said they will go for the booster catch at the launch pad on Flight 5. Sorry, Ryan, go on.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, because especially with the size of the vehicle, there is that hope that we are going to get a what is it? We would get like views through the entirety of re-entry, which would be one of the craziest things ever witnessed, to be honest. If we got uninterrupted views all the way through, and then it's like all of a sudden you're seeing the plasma go away, and that would be. I don't even know if we could put into words how ridiculous that would look.
Well, for context, Ryan, I can tell you that there's been a number, because we're graciously donated them by astronauts, of camcorder footage of re-entry on board during the space shuttle program. There's a few out in public, so it's not like hiding anything. There's one out in public for as it is, but we've got several, and it is very dynamic re-entry, and you see it from the inside, but we've never seen it from the outside. An external camera showing it, so that could be a real first. And it, again, with the modern technology of the cameras and the Starlink downlink they've got on the ship, it would be ultimately better than if they had managed it on the space shuttle. So it's going to be absolutely incredible if we see it on Flight 4, where it's coming down in the right attitude and surviving the re-entry, and we're watching it live with all those amazing purple and oranges and sparks that'll fly. It's going to be incredible. I'm trying to and fro whether I'm more excited about the potential of a soft water landing with a booster or the re-entry. I'm thinking re-entry personally.
Yeah, re-entry would be, to me, is more exciting. I mean, if they get soft water landing with a booster, I don't know what to say, I hate to be that person, but it's like one of those people, it's like, we see Falcon 9 all the time. I mean, Super Heavy is a whole different beast, like, entirely. But like seeing Super Heavy soft splashdown will be really cool, no doubt. But seeing a full re-entry, I don't know what tops that. The only thing I can think that tops that is seeing a full re-entry, mind you, with like a 20-minute delay. And it wouldn't be re-entry, my bad, entry into Mars' atmosphere.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that might be the only thing that tops that.
Yeah.
But we're a ways away from anything like that. But I cannot wait to. I hope we see a fully uninterrupted, live, like flat view of re-entry.
We're a while away, but this is what this vehicle is, Ryan, and that's an important point to make. When we talk about Mars, people go, "Why are you talking about Mars?" This is literally what Elon himself Never mind SpaceX. He obviously has an amazing team behind him. But this is what this vehicle's about. It's about making my life multiplanetary, and that means Mars Base Alpha. That means 1 million tons to create a self-sustaining city on Mars. This is what this vehicle's about. We're looking forward to these test flights. We're looking forward to Starlink deploys. We're looking forward to HLS and the Artemis program. We're looking forward to the private missions such as Tim Dog going on Dear Moon, which is going to be amazing. You know, imagine that, Tim going around the moon on Starship. That's actually a plan. It's not like some kind of like idea or some kind of like wild dream. It's actually planned. And then we're going to have the Mars. There's so much capability, and people, and I can understand why, will sometimes call me a fanboy, but I love rockets, and if you're looking at this most capable rocket, I'm going to be a fan of it. It's simple as that. There's no harm in being a fan of that kind of thing, because that's what we're about. This is the channel, the site, everything is about rockets. And when you get a really capable and cool rocket like this, you're going to be excited. You're in a wrong business if you're not excited about this. That's what I say. We're watching this. I was rambling there, but we are watching this vehicle come over to be stacked. They are lining up, and they'll get aligned, and then they'll start to bring it down. This process will be quite slow for obvious reasons. They don't just plonk it on top like I intimated in chat earlier. They will align carefully with the latching system. It takes quite a while to get it right, and sometimes they take it back off a bit and they redo it again to make sure it's right. But this is where we're in the process now. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to read off some more support, because again, we're not owned by some big company who's just basically paying all our bills. We are literally ourselves, and we are self-sustaining. We reinvest everything we do into all these amazing camera views and the ability to do this. So I want to thank those people for allowing that, which is Demza Blue Fly became the top level membership of flight engineer. Thank you, Desmond, that's amazing. Wilbur Tiberius Baggins, one of our regulars, gifted 5 red team memberships. Whittle has become a red team member. By the way, if you're red team or above, especially if you're gifted as well, check out the membership area of the YouTube channel, because there's lots of content in it. I put it in there, so I know how much content is in there. There's a lot. Paul Trump Power has gifted 1 red team membership. Well done. JC Davis, slightly off topic. Will SpaceX cryo test in Florida or not? And if so, where? Now, we're talking about 39A to start with, Ryan. I assume they're using Starbase to learn how to control, test, and fly this vehicle. By the time it gets to 39A, do you think they may have moved past that point, or do you think they will have to at least do some testing to get the confidence in 39A's tank farm system, for example?
So yeah, the funny thing is if you go back to the original 2019 EIS, so yeah, if you go back to that EIS, it talks about static firing ships at 39A. It's kind of interesting along with it that you would also have to cryo them as well. They'll still, like with the new ship or a new booster, they'll cryo and static fire. They'll do the same thing they do with Falcon 9. It's a simple verification process after building the vehicle. After that, it's a static fire if you need to, or you just fly it again. Like they've gotten to the point with Falcon 9 where they just fly it again. The only time they've static fired another one, oh man, and I'm gonna miss Alex on this one, is like if the booster hasn't flown for a while, they'll static fire it again to verify it's still good to go, kind of thing. I think they did that with one of GoZU's side cores. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Where's Alex when you need him?
Yeah, right? Where's Alex when you need him? But they'll still do that. My guess is there will be like a cryo station at 39A or somewhere else, because they're going to need a place to cryo and static fire these ships at Kennedy. I don't know where that'll be, whether it's inside the perimeter of 39A or they do it somewhere like near Roberts Road. I don't really know. They'll probably want it in a private place, kind of like they do Massey's, where they don't have to close a road off or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Now, of course, we had that new EIS proposal that came out, so it'll be interesting to see what other infrastructure changes are going to come Because with that EIS, it's really all with 39A, but it may include other things along with that. So I can't wait to see the whole proposal, which unfortunately is going to take a little while. So
a lot of people in chat keep asking about the IFT4, the Flight 4 merch. Trust me, Adrian is in control of this. I am not. I'll get told off if I say something too soon, but I know that Adrian will announce, and we are waiting for Fullstack. There he is. Thank you, Adrian. I'm a terrible leaker, so I'm notorious for saying something I might not be able to have been approved to say just yet. So thank you, Adrian, for coming on. What's the status of things, so I don't say something wrong? Nobody can hear you, Adrian, by the way.
Oh, nobody can hear us.
I just realised I've been listening to Adrian in my ear, but the chat has been saying I can't hear a thing. So that's probably good. We're going to have to go back to the start of that conversation.
Okay.
Apologies to dead air. In my ear,
Hello.
It sounded like a complete good conversation with Adrian, but unfortunately,
Yeah, for sure.
in the chat, it wasn't. So, Adrian, maybe you want to redo that conversation about what I can't talk about, but you can, which is the Flight 4 merch.
Yeah, for sure don't go to the store right now, and for sure don't look at the ticker in the top right where people have been maybe spotted it. Maybe people were very fast while I updated the website to click on it and already order it. So that was quite fast. Good job, everybody who already spotted it. But yeah, I know it's people get excited for it. It's the thing we do before Starship flight, and I can tell you we have, especially Pauline has been cooking with this. And I think, Ryan, are we good? Are we good to show the patch? Because I think it's time to show that patch here, which is our Flight 4 patch. And I think you and Ryan said it earlier, Chris. It's a matter of, there we go. There's the stinger. It's a matter of re-entry, right? It's all about re-entry with Flight 4. So also NSF decided it's all about re-entry, and there's our Flight 4 patch. I fully honestly say I think it's my favorite so far. I love the red border. I love the re-entry colors. There it is. It's available now at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, and as always in limited quantities. So make sure, if you want to have our beautiful Flight 4 patch or other apparel, we have other apparel there as well, with this patch on, make sure to check out the website.
By the way, Adrian, is it fully embroidered by chance?
Yeah, it's fully embroidered and edge wrapped.
Oh,
so
really?
you can see this red edge. It's really like properly cut off, so it's not like tearing apart. It's like really like sturdy. I think that's a good way to say it. It's a really, I think if you saw especially our Flight 3 patch, that gives you an expectation of what to expect from the Flight 4 quality. And I also should mention, we are in the final stages to get it into warehousing and then shipping, and that's why there's a note on this website. We expect the shipping to commence before the end of May. But just as you know, like if you order it right now, it could result in like a few more days until the shipping, because, well, SpaceX is going so fast. We are also having to do all of this, and getting them into there, so that takes a bit of time. So again, thanks everybody that supported this process. Thanks to Pauline, who designed this. Again, amazing work by Pauline.
It is very cool. Very cool. And again, people keep asking where's IFT3. We did say, and we'll say it again, we can only order a certain amount in the batch. I mean, that's the way it works, the economy of things. Once they run out, they run out. That's how it is. And I've had many emails saying, when's he back in stock? I said, well, we did say multiple times, including on site, that once it runs out, it runs out. So that's a Flight 4 opportunity. So if you get one now, then that's your way of guaranteeing it. So that's what I'll say. I'm not a salesperson, you can tell, but it's just a fact that that's what the case, and I don't want anyone disappointed. Cool. Now back to the stack. We are aligning. Oh, there's Stinger. I do like that Stinger. We are aligning. This always does take a while. People will be thinking, why are you talking about the patch when we're about to stack? It does take a while for them to align this point. We know from experience it can take up to 30 minutes before they'll actually have it down on the booster. You never know, maybe they've improved the process since because they get experience all the time. But I'm going to read out some more. We've got questions and everything here, so I'll make sure we don't miss out because we'd like to be interactive as possible. Paul Dawson asks, are the tiles on high-risk areas such as the fin mounts and leading edges different to others, Ryan?
Not right now. It's a complicated question because SpaceX changes the heat shield a lot, even between multiple vehicles. There's like little tiny changes here and there. The biggest change will most likely come when it comes to like fin mounts, as well as the passive areas, I should call them, like the flap variants. Words, sometimes it's hard, Chris. We're thinking that what's the word? We're thinking that they're probably going to go with smaller tiles in Block 2 of Starship, so it's a little bit easier for them to move the stuff around and stuff like that. And it'll be easier for them to cover areas with tiles. And there was a recent showing of a new thinner forward flap that's coming out for Block 2 that looks kind of like the renders that SpaceX did release. So it'd be kind of curious to see how that gets tiled. I can't wait to see one of those on a V2 Block 2 ship when it comes out. So they change things all the time. So.
Very good. James, I like a support message. It's Mr. Seat of Pants. Haha. Yeah, I was on a very late night stream and very tired, and I think I got by the seat of my pants the wrong way around. I didn't cause much amusement. Thank you, James. Dan Elgon, gift a Red Team membership. Thank you very much. Apocalypse Cow is back again with 5 Red Team memberships. Amazing support. Dean Brilliant. Oh, I was called Dean Brilliant. It was always Brill Heart, but I keep reading it as Brilliant. And he doesn't mind it because I've said from him before that he doesn't mind that at all. What do you think about SpaceX doing a virtual catch with the chopsticks at the same time the Booster 11 is going for the virtual landing in the Gulf? This is a question that comes up quite often, and I do like it. I think they won't do that. I personally don't think they'll do that. I know a lot of people think they might, but the way that is perceived is that when Booster 11 is coming down for its soft splashdown on the virtual tower in the Gulf, that the chopsticks, the real tower, will mimic, with just the chopsticks and no rocket there, the actual catch action at the same time, and then they maybe can do a comparison. I do like the idea of that, but I don't think they will for this, because we do know that the chopsticks have been modified, but only on one side, correct, Ryan? It's not being modified on the other side yet.
Well, that's the interesting thing about that, is on the other side, there was a new pipe added to the, we'll call it the left chopstick, because if you're looking, basically you're on the tower, you're looking towards the OLM from the tower. You have the left and right arms. Basically on the left arm, the one that they changed the actuator on, they added a pipe that goes to the back, which would be just behind the piston in the actuator itself. The one on the right side already has that. So there's the possibility that that one is already where it needs to be, but they just haven't tested it yet. It's really hard to know. It looks relatively similar. So they may not need to upgrade that side, and it might be fine. Maybe. We'll have to see if they change it. I think if they do anything along those lines, it would be between Flight 4 and 5. I kind of hope they do one of those virtual catches where the arms kind of try to mimic where the booster is. Just, it'd be cool to see the movement, personally. They may not even need to do that, though. They may be confident enough in that system, and it's just kind of they need to get booster as accurate as they can.
Very good. Lots of thanks again. Mr. Richard Texas giving you 10 Red Team memberships. Again, if you got a Red Team membership and you're probably thinking, why is my name green? Why have I got a membership? Did I pay something for this? No, it's free. It is for the generosity of our community, which is really appreciated. I see a lot of people have been buying the patch, and they've used that opportunity to do what you can do is a store message. I will not be able to read them all out. There is so many, which is obviously a very good sign for how the patch is doing, but I will display them on screen. How about that? That's a good compromise while you're watching this tower. So you don't get me talking endlessly about super chats or anything like that. You'll see the messages on screen. I think that's probably a nice compromise for that. But Astro 95 Media, that's probably Nathan. Do say in chat if it's Nathan. One of our OGs, original, the first time as a site we got actual on-the-spot photographers, the space shuttle events and what have you, has got in saying, looks like I've got a plan to go to Starbase in June. If you do, make sure you let us know, because we'll make sure our team gets to see you and you get around with us, because you are one of our original people, and it's very much appreciated you coming in there and doing that. Thank you very much. Where do we stand? While I start clicking the green button on these messages for people who've been buying the patch and what have you, where do you think we are now, Ryan, as far as alignment? Do you think they're pretty clear? It looks very good. I wonder if they'll start lowering soon.
It looks close. If you go look, I think it's what cam is it off the top of my head? Trailer 2, I think it is. They have to line up the engine chill pipes, and it's not fully aligned yet, as you can tell. They're gonna have to do some minor adjustments, which they can do with the sticks. It'll take a little bit, but it looks like they're getting pretty close to it. So once it's aligned, they'll lower it down and probably lock it into place. So
very good. And I do believe we might have an in the field reporting from our very own Jack Bayer. Jack, are you on comms?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, yes. Hello, Jack. Where are you and what can you see?
I'm like, I don't know how many 100 feet from the OLM, but yeah, we're just watching him do this final alignment process. I just wanted to say hi, and that, like, the patch is really cool. Holy cow, I love the patch.
It is. It's very good. It's doing very well, I can tell, because there are a lot of people using the store message part of the store page. A lot of people are using it, where the point is the panel is now quite slow, and I'm trying to click on people's names to make sure they're all appreciated, but yeah, it's gone down very well. Paul does an amazing job with that.
Well, one thing I saw, I need to edit my photos before I am sure of it, but it looked like one of the Raptor engines was serial number 341, one of the Raptor centers. It's just crazy to me that we would be that high in the numbers at this point, but I could have been seeing it wrong. I need to edit the photos, so take it with a grain of salt, but thought that was neat. Okay, bye.
Bye, Jack. Thanks, Jack. Interesting that Jack's in a position where also he'll be near the tanks that are moving. I've got a question. I don't want to go too far off the stacking because we are close, but I will revert back to it if they start lowering it. But Ryan, a question about the wider launch site, which is coming from Chloe Dance, who asked, do you think they'll remove all the old vertical tanks before the next flight?
I don't think they'll remove them all. I think they'll remove some of them. We know we've seen more and more Paralite vacuum trucks come in to empty out the LOX tanks. I think what the LR 11,000 will do, they'll remove as many as they do, and then the rest will be done after this flight. There is though the possibility that they do remove them all. I mean, they have the harder ones out of the way with the reinforcement on the other side, so the rest of them are grab the cryo shell off the base and just start cutting it. They don't have to pre-cut it before they take it off now in a weird way, because one side has more weight than the other because of all the reinforcement. So the rest of the scrapping shouldn't be nearly as hard to do. So
our panel is grinding to a halt with storm messages. It really is slowing right down. Well, that's great. We are now in the alignment process. This is all done both with the automation, but also by a controller, correct, Ryan? There's actually I've seen some intimations that it literally is like a big panel, but there is there's a person with a hand on the controls to guide us. It's not all automated, is it?
I honestly don't know. It would be really, really cool to see if they have like a whole manual setup for this. You know, someone with like a joystick just go in and move in the whole thing. My guess is they probably have a manual backup for it. Ooh, I just moved a decent amount. And So yeah, that'd be really cool to see. I guess it's partially automated and it can be manual if they have to do it. Which, imagine that job. You get to stack a ship with arms. That would be cool.
The great view on the left. This is really zoomed in. You can see the points there. Did they have a name for this point where between the ship and the booster, the attachment point?
It's basically just a clamp.
Yeah, clamp. That's what
it's
the word was leaving me, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah.
The clamp. Yeah.
It's basically just a clamp system, really. Like kind of like two lips that just kind of hold down and hold it together. Basically, yeah, that's just kind of all it is.
Very good. And what do you think now, for people who might be joining us as late, how long we are until we are in the position of full stack? Because I do like to do a post on X as well saying Flight 4 is now full stacked. Do you think we're about 10 minutes away or less?
We could be pretty close. I mean, you can see how lined up that engine chill pipe is. It's almost there. So I would say we are relatively close. Need a little bit more adjustment and then lower it. Maybe 10, 15 minutes, give or take. It's not the fastest stack, obviously. I don't think they're ever going to beat their time for the fastest stack, which was Ship 25 right after it got its FTS installed, where they worked on the FTS for a whole day. And then they cleared out and stacked like instantly, no klaxon, no PA, no nothing. They just stacked it. That was like that took 35 minutes, and they started. This ship came off the stand 50 minutes ago, so they'll probably hit about an hour before it's fully stacked at this rate.
Very good. Alison Ellard asked earlier. I hope you're still there, Alison. We are having a UK meetup on the 24th, May 24th. A lot of NSF members are there. In fact, you're coming as well, Ryan, aren't you? To Leicester, the Leicester Science Museum. And basically, we're going to meet by 11 o'clock in the morning. But if you use the form, put it into chat. Someone will beat me. There, Westy beat me already. The form there just basically puts your name down. That way you get the details being sent to you, so you always informed on where we all are at any one time. But it is on the Friday the 24th, Leicester Science Museum in the shuttle room. Oh well, who didn't say that's a great idea when I heard that? It's in the shuttle room on May 24th, and that's where we're having a meetup. There's a lot of people already coming to it, and we have a capacity limit. In fact, we're getting close to the capacity limit of the place. That's how many people are coming. So if you are planning to come to the UK meetup, do put your name down on that list to make sure that you're guaranteed to come into it. And we'll have a meetup. There's a lot of NSF team members coming to it, and it'll be a lot of fun. So that's when it is, Alison. Thank you for asking.
Should have some kind of NSF, like, massive clue game. It's like, Chris Bergen did it in the shuttle room with an explosive bolt. I don't know.
No. I did ask if I could do a tombola, and then the Americans go, "What's a tombola?" I had to do pictures of it. But you don't have to be from the UK, by the way, to come to it. You can be from anywhere in the world if you want, as Ryan is, because he's American. But yeah, it's the UK one. We're going to do lots more as well. We do lots in America, obviously. It makes more sense doing in America. Florida and Starbase and places like that. There's some planning, but it was just an idea from Chris W., one of our team members who did great planning. He did an impromptu one in Dirty Leeds. And literally a load of people turned up. We thought, well, if this happens with an impromptu one where a lot of people just turn up, we could just do a UK meetup anyway with more kind of like planning. And yeah, a lot of people have put their name down for it, so it's going to be a great meetup, be a great chance to ask questions and have fun.
The ship looks aligned.
Very good.
Yeah, we'll look for it to go down now. Yeah, the Ryan Caton, we got Mr. Map coming too,
Team, what appreciate you calling him that. In fact, we've just made it worse by saying that, aren't we? Because now people are going to insist on calling him Mr. Map. He is actually running the stream in the background, so if you want the stream to continue, maybe we should just move away from that quite fast. Otherwise, he might just go, "Oh, I'm sorry, stream's broken. Sorry about that," in protest.
I mean, I'll take the nickname I got from Jack, which is Webby. I'll take it because it's a nickname from Jack. So, I count that as a win. So, in my book. But I guess Ryan isn't happy with his nickname. I don't know. I mean, you just look at his Twitter handle or his name in YouTube chat. Like, what does it
Yeah.
even mean, right?
It doesn't,
Like, what?
it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's like an Xbox 360 username that was given to him. We do need to sort of like peer pressure Ryan Caton into doing at Ryan Caton or something like that, something normal, not the D-Pod Dolphin thing he uses. But that's for him to choose. I am eagerly keeping my eyes on this stacking process. This always does take a lot of time. You're probably wondering why we're a little rambling right now. It's not because we're not keeping an eye on it. We're just from experience. No, this can take a while for it to come through. I feel terribly guilty that I can't put everyone's name on screen. I've sent a message via the store support. There is just so many of them, and that's amazing support to start with. I am just going to try and make sure I go through as many as I can during the stream, and when Adrian takes over from me shortly, hopefully, a little hint for Adrian there, that he'll be able to click on some buttons as well, because there is so much support. I never come across right when I say it, and you do get people who maybe, you know, just passing by thinking, oh, that's a YouTube channel just taking money. We honestly, I can't get it. In fact, at the UK meetup, I will show things. We invest everything back into what we're doing. It really does. And that's why we've got all these fancy cameras. Even on land we've purchased at Starbase. We've literally bought plots of land at Starbase to put cameras on, because you can't just put a camera anywhere, to provide views. And that is a massive investment, but it's allowed because of the support we get. I can't get it across enough. No one's getting rich off this. Trust me, I will OBS my bank account on one day and say, yeah, I'm really making a lot of money here. It's not the case at all. It really isn't. So yeah, thank you for your support. I probably won't do that, by the way. That would be probably very naughty to do, wouldn't it? I'll get in trouble with my bank. Dan Hogman has gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Daniel. That is great support, as always. I see your name regularly. I don't know if these will come up on the screen because the panel is completely chock-a-block full of things that it might not display, but I'm going to keep pressing on it. I'm going to thank people anyway. We've got people becoming Padre members, Hank's become a Red Team member. I did see a crazy one as well. We've seen Mr. Rich Texas doing more gifted memberships, another 10 there, maybe another 20 there. And then we've seen Chris P do 50 gifted memberships. So we are turning our chat green here. We are literally turning our, there's only 7,500 people in, which is quite a lot, by the way, but it's not like there's 100,000 people in. We are literally turning everybody green as we speak with this generosity of our community. It's amazing. I wish I could put them on the screen, but my panel is completely chocked. We're getting closer to stack, by the way. We are keeping a very close eye on this. We just know from experience it takes a while, but we are getting closer and closer. They're doing it very, very carefully, as they always do. But I wonder, this alignment looks perfect. Those tubes on the right, Ryan, maybe you want to talk about those tubes on the right.
Well, yeah, the tube right there, that is the engine chill pipe that SpaceX has for when they chill the Raptors prior to the second stage igniting. And they do a little bit before flight. So they'll start chilling the Raptors during the count for stage 2, and then they'll really increase that chill down once in flight, and then of course chill down will shut down and they'll ignite the engines, and then they'll separate the ship as normal. So yeah, and the reason why they have a pipe that goes through the hot stage ring and down to the booster is just to make sure that no gases build up in and around that area, and it just stays away from the booster, so, and the ship.
Just seen someone do a crazy amount. I'm literally reading off the chart now, not the panel, because I don't trust the panel, because it's completely broken by the amount of support, which is an amazing thing. But Richard Snodgrass, whose name I see quite a lot, more people click the like button. 7,600 watching, 1.6k likes. Doesn't cost a like. It's true. Likes are free and they help. That ratio is actually quite right. Normally, it's usually about 10 to 20% of the viewership is in a like ratio as well. I'm not a YouTube expert, but that is always appreciated when people to click like. That actually helps you put you in the queue for the red team gifted memberships. By the way, apparently, no one's really understood the YouTube secret sauce behind all that. But apparently, when the YouTube allocates gifted memberships randomly, as it does, it works on people who have been liking streams, watching videos on the channel itself, and they obviously higher in the queue to get the gifted membership. Apparently, I don't know the facts behind that, but that's what I've heard. Ship is lowering. We're getting closer and closer.
It's going. Slowly going down.
And then we can look forward to the amazing photographs from Mary, Sean, and Jack of a Fullstack. I always loved the Fullstack photographs, and they're so talented as well that they get some wonderful views of. If I went out there with my iPhone, I'd be taking terrible photographs of it, put it that way. But they have their fancy cameras, and they know how to do things, and they edit them to make them look,
Chris,
perfectly clear.
Jack. Say that. You say that, and I appreciate your kind words, and I'm sure Mary and Sean do too. But it really is just so beautiful out here. I bet you with an iPhone could take some pretty great photos. Well, it's just a photogenic place. I mean, you have the beach, you have the beautiful skies and the cloud. It's just don't put yourself down.
I've got a funny feeling I will one day, hopefully, get proved point. We are getting close now. We are getting close.
Speaking of putting down,
segue.
There you go. It's almost stacked. Looks almost.
And there's been
kind of looks stacked, but it's hard to tell.
There's been no jiggling this time as well, which is good because we've seen them jiggle around that pipe alignment and they actually lift it back off at some point to get the alignment right. This is down first time. This is good.
Yeah, it is. They're getting better at it with some of the changes they had to the sticks, and then of course they had to realign their hold down arms and clamps on the booster to get things a little bit lined up there. So yeah.
The excitement caused silence there because we are all watching along with you. That's the thing to understand, chat, is that we are talking over it. We get to talk on microphones. It's a fun thing. I personally enjoy it immensely. But at the same time, we're just the same as you. We're Starship fans. We're Rocket fans. We're watching along live as you are as well. The difference is that rather than typing in chat, which I still do anyway, is we get to talk at the same time. So sometimes we'll go a little bit silent like just then because this is amazing. I can't imagine ever getting bored.
This is also one of those points where sometimes we've seen and or heard loud thumps and then had D-stacks. So it's a critical moment when they finally set it down, right?
Yeah, it's nice that they're getting better at it and we don't have the loud thump. It means that they're actually aligned now. So it's always a good sign. We don't want to hear a really, really loud thump. We want to make sure the thing because you have to remember they're setting a 160-ton vehicle on top of a 250-ton vehicle on an OLM. So a loud thump usually isn't a good thing. So yeah.
You know what? My panel is broken. The panel being things I click on to make it display on the screen because so many people have left messages buying the patch and things like that in a store message. I want to make sure people are appreciated. I'm thinking doing a speed run of names. How does that sound? These people have supported with either gifted memberships, becoming a member, or buying something from the store. And I just feel terribly guilty that we don't give them a shout out because, again, without this support, we wouldn't happen. And Ryan, interrupt me if you think we are fully down because it's close, isn't it? So do interrupt me while I'm doing this.
It looks pretty much fully down, to be honest. The thing is that line isn't fully connected, but it looks down. So yeah, I really don't see any gap anywhere. So.
Right, ready for a speed run. Let's see how long my teeth stay in my mouth. Bideford, Llama, Gabriel, Norris, Samuel, Steve, David, Anonymous, Justin, Trent, Harvey, Mark, Roger, Matt, Jonah, Kevin, Peter, Jared, Walker, M, Ray, Teppet, William, Jonathan, Jack, Mark, Alison, Mitchell, John, Stephen, George. Before I go into long, people wonder what I'm doing if you just joined. Thank you for your support. That's amazing. I just speedrun some names there for people's support. I can't put them in the actual screen itself right now, so I want to make sure they're thanked anyway. A few more. Stephen, John, Marcel, Lars, Stephen, Philip, David, Rod, Alex, Tim, Andrew, Connor, Mark, Fabian, Mark, Ralph, Lee, Paul Allen, sorry, full name there, Nicholas, Mark, Timo, Jonathan, Kyle, Owen, Joey, Chad, Maria, David, Neek, Martin, Joanne, Nicole, Jackie, go. I'm still going. We're not even close. Mark, Simon, Jeff. Interrupt me, Ryan, if you see something. Jeff, Ryan, Wayne, Glenn, Ian, Simon, David, Musical Wolves, Julian, William, Gary, Kevin, Andre, Chris, Robert, Curtis, Richard, Victoria, Jim, Michael, Doug, Brent, Jill, Mark, Ryan, Gage, Daniel, RC Horseman, and I'm still going. But thank you for your support. Wow. That sounded terrible probably to people just joining, but I always make sure you have no idea. I started the site in 2005 as a bet with some NASA guys saying, Chris, start a site, we'll help you and we'll give you information. You're a journalist, because I'm a journalist by trade. But there's no spaceflight site out covering shuttle, technically, so start a site. I nearly called it shuttlespaceflight.com, by the way. That nearly was the name of the site, because it was going to be just about shuttle, and we thought, well, we're going to cover Venture Star and X-33. People remember that vehicle from the past. So it's more of a NASA thing, so we call it NASASpaceflight. And we are the only site that has permission from NASA to use NASA in the URL. Literally, that's what you see on my X bio and stuff like that. We literally have NASA permission to use that name. So it's really cool, because we've got a long 20-year history of the site nearly now. And that's where the channel came from as well. Mary started uploading these clips of the old days of Starbase, when it was just like sand and the occasional building and the occasional strange little hopper vehicle they were building that we thought was a water tower. It was amazing that back in the days, and Mary was uploading clips to the forum. We said, Mary, these clips are very popular, you're going to break the forum, can we put them on YouTube? And that's where the channel came from, just as a relief for the forum. And now look at us, hang on, I know I said 100, 1,030,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. So thank you to all of you for helping us grow, and we've hopefully repaid you by reinvesting it in all these camera views and what have you.
What did I just walk into? A bunch
Sorry,
of emails
Daz.
that the store is breaking and stuff. What's happening here?
Daz, everybody. Thank you, Daz. As you can tell, Daz, I am rambling. My brain has got past the hour point where I start rambling. So thank you for popping on and helping out here. Yes, I was speedrunning some names in the panel because the panel has literally overloaded.
It sounded like a roll call of people who like Starship or rockets or something.
Technically it was, if you think about it.
Good deal. No, I've been watching the entire time and doing some other stuff, and I figured I would hop in because this is another cool thing that's happening out at Starbase. Does anybody even know who I am anymore in chat? Like, who's this random guy who just jumps in and starts talking?
People go, where's Daz? As if you've taken a break, something like that. I can, on Daz's behalf, tell him that Daz is working hard and has ever worked ever for NSF behind the scenes. That we do want to find ways to make sure he can come on the streams like he used to always do as much as possible. So my message to the back room that I am slowly turning to a puddle of mud on the microphone has evoked the Daz into a stream, so we should do that more often, even if I'm feeling fine.
It's like the DOS signal. You put up the DOS signal, you're like, hey, I'd like to take a break, and I was like, I got you, Chris. Let me jump in.
Yes.
Like, I want to just connect and start talking. So, anyways, this thing looks like it's getting pretty close to down.
Yeah, there looks like a tiny gap, and maybe it's like slightly off. And I don't think they want to drop it the rest of the way, because then we might actually get one of those loud clunks. Because the more I look at it, I think it's almost like a centimeter. There's not much. So they're waiting to see, or not waiting. They're trying to get it just slightly more aligned here.
And if you look at that one camera, was a little hiccupy with the tube, the engine trill tube that has to align, right? And it looked like it was a little bit off, but it's really close to being all the way down at like a line. Yeah, there we go. Mm-hmm. See that like needs to plug in together, but it's not like you go and you plug in your garden hose or anything. They need to get those things aligned. So anyways, it's super close. I mean, how wide do you think that gap is, Ryan?
Ooh,
like what's I don't even know what the scale or context is.
That's what I was trying to think. Like sense of scale here.
Like an inch is it's not. I don't think it's a foot.
No, it's not a foot. I would say about an inch, maybe, is the gap.
I'd buy that.
It's hard to tell sense of scale. Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, I hopped in real quick because Chris has been chatting for quite a while since this is going. But I think, Chris, you're going to hop off right now and go get a little rest and hopefully clear some of your emails.
Yes, I have a lot of catching up to do, and I will just mention once again to people that we had so many questions coming on this and so many support. I'm going to screenshot as much as I can, and we'll on the next Raptor side tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time on Starbase Live. I will try and catch up with those because I always like to make sure we're as interactive as possible and we answer as many questions as possible. But the flood of them that came in not only was too many to answer, but also it broke the panel. It broke the thing that makes me click on things to go on screen. So, but thank you for all your support. And yes, I am at the stage now where I need to do major catching up, including some X-posts about the fact that we're a full stack now. Thank you very much.
There you
Thank
go.
you
All right. Off to the socials, Chris, to keep everybody informed as to what's going on. Probably a bunch of member stuff is going to end up in the member back channels as well. Like, all the stuff we don't show on the streams and we don't put out on social because you can only put out so much stuff. Chris just opens the fire hose for members in Discord and stuff like that. So, anyways, what's our plan here? Like, we're seeing the stack. It's so close to getting all the way down. We're going to be hanging out for a little while here. But what else are we looking at, Ryan?
Well, I mean, other than, the stack happening here, we're also looking at waiting to see what SpaceX does with Ship 31 after that anomaly happened a couple days ago.
That electrical arc or whatever. You saw that Jack took some close-up photos of the damage after that.
Yeah, it looked like the raceway kind of
exploded,
blew open a little bit. You could see some pressure lines, some wires hanging out there. It's be really interesting to see how. I'd be curious to how damaged that ship is. Electrically.
That's not 31 there. That's back at Massey's. Like 31 came back to the barn, didn't it?
Yeah, it's hooked up to the bridge crane in High Bay right now. That's Ship 26.
That's 26. Some Ship 26 fan must be putting this on the screen right now, but anyways, that's Ship 26 back there. We go.
Yeah, there's Ship 31 hooked up. You got Ship 30 in the back there, which may have to get some inspections now. If SpaceX is a little bit worried on whether or not. I don't know if there's some, because my assumption is the electrical system between the ships is similar. I don't see why that would change that much. So SpaceX may need to look into all these ships. So I would expect a destack and still a rollback of 29. Mainly the rollback of 29 because they still have a lot of heat shield work, as we can tell.
Yeah,
they're still missing
gaps.
tiles.
There's tile missing. Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's SpaceX will have to do their own investigation, as I've said on it, and they'll try to figure out what exactly happened, whether or not it was a manufacturing defect, a defect in the wiring, just a simple mistake, because it happens. I know. I've people make mistakes. I know about them. I'm well aware when you're doing maintenance, you're putting things. There's
the replay of that bright light. It really does look like an electrical arc getting out of control. Or I mean, it shouldn't be arcing in the first place. No. It's not like, this is an arc that's in control. They're not welding on it or anything like that, right?
What was it? It was Ryan Hansen had a word, and I will credit him on this. He said the raceway briefly identified as an arc welder, which is that's a pretty good description as to what happened.
An arc welder or a plasma cutter, one or the other.
Right.
Like, which way are you going? You attaching or detaching things?
I don't think I doubt it punctured the tank wall. Mainly because it's a decently thick wall, but also because there wasn't any venting coming from that section, just the puff of smoke from the electrical fire that it caused. So I would assume the tank wall is fine, although there could be some exterior damage to it. But and if that's the case, I don't know if the SpaceX save 31 or do they just go to 32 and be like, we have one less version 1 now.
Yeah, it comes down to what caused it, and the biggest thing is figuring out what happened. Like we run into similar sorts of stuff, clearly not on that scale and not at the amperage levels that came jumping out of there, right? But it's tough with electrical stuff sometimes. Like you never want a car that has electrical problems. Like when your car starts to have electrical problems, that's the time to like jack it up and put a new car under it. Because it can be tough to hunt down the source. Hey, Jack! I didn't mean to summon you, Jack, but it's tough. It's really tough to get to the root cause of some of those things. So what caused it? Is it a similarity that happens with other ships? Even if it's not a specific thing that might happen with other ships, might might it be possible on them if these specific circumstances arrive or something? That's probably what SpaceX got to look at to figure out and make sure that's not going to happen anywhere else.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience working on 37s, when it comes to trying to do electrical troubleshooting. Luckily with this, I will say though, in terms of electrical troubleshooting, it's pretty obvious where you need to look, where the arc happened.
Yeah.
But there can be times where you get a fault in a system and then you got to track it down, and you're chasing wires, checking for continuity, checking for resistance. And it's a chase that could take a while. You're going into the wiring diagrams. Oh man, it gets fun.
It's no fun, I was gonna say, but you can say it's fun if you want.
Well, for me, I do like troubleshooting and trying to figure out the problem. It can be fun, especially when you're doing it with a system you've never messed with before. It can be fun chasing wires, figuring it out, replacing relays. For some people it's fun to do it. For others, it's not. It can't be.
Soul crushing or impossible might be the other way
Right.
to describe it, right? I'm sure they'll get it figured out. Like, I'm sure that they'll.
That
what are we?
That looks a lot more lined up now. Unless it's just me.
I think it's closer. It still looks like it's a little off to the left, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's a little closer.
Yeah. Look at the little trapezoidal alignment pin thing on the left-hand side, right? Alignment tab into slot A or whatever that is.
Yeah.
That looks like a pretty consistent gap around the. That is a trapezoid, isn't it? I think that's the right. Yeah, there we go.
It's right where the ship pin guide pin is. Yeah.
Is that a trapezoid, Chad? I think that's the right name of that shape.
That sounds right. Looks right. If I remember my geometry right,
So super close to being completely aligned here. The panel is just going to keep playing out those shop messages, y'all. It's something that we've always looked at, where y'all order so many things when we release a new product, and then the panel just never catches up, and it keeps going on and off and on and off and off and on and off the screen. But all the different things that are going on here, people gifted memberships and stuff like that, while we watch for these two little pieces of stainless steel to be perfectly aligned so they can put the mass of the ship down on top of the stack and make our Flight 4 full stack, well, fully stacked.
Oh, it does look like it's going down more.
Yeah. Look, it looks like it's to the right now a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, they went a little bit more. It is kind of funny when you think about it. This small piece right here, which is only like a couple inches wide, is what you have to align for a 9-meter wide, 50-meter tall, 160-ton vehicle. And this is what has to align.
Wait, okay, Ryan, I may remember incorrectly here, but at some point, that's the hot stage holes, right? On the bottom of that left-hand camera, that's the hot staging holes where the exhaust comes out. And at some point, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a photo of a worker leaning out one of those holes? If I'm remembering incorrectly, can you fit your head through the hot stage ring is my question.
I don't think it was. I know there was a picture of Booster 9 that SpaceX took in the Mega Bay 1, where they had workers sitting up inside the hot stage ring. We'd have to find it again.
See, I don't know if anybody can find that, but in terms of the sense of scale, you said, oh, it's a couple inches, and I'm like, in there somebody's shoulder or arm? I don't know if they were sticking their head out the hot stage hole, but that's how big that pipe that we're talking about there, right? We've switched off of it for now, but that's how big that pipe was. I don't know if we can find that. Maybe somebody can find that picture for us.
Oh, well, something new just came out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we got a Marine Safety Information Bulletin for May 18th.
That's 3 days from now. That's actually Saturday, which is interesting.
That's Saturday. And they don't, at least as far as I know, there's no closure yet. That is, we'll go with that. So with that would be for a wet dress rehearsal, most likely.
Interesting.
Huh.
There's 2 dates on here, right? There's the 16th, which is Thursday, tomorrow. And is the backup date the 18th? I'm looking.
I would guess that's the backup date. Yeah, because they have tomorrow. Because we knew there was one out for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
so
I guess
it's appended.
They added the 18th, I guess, in case, or just I guess they just added it. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what the new thing there is. Like, was it originally one and now it's added another backup date or something like that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's the picture.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can show that, but 2 dates for testing wet dress rehearsal most likely. The 16th, which is tomorrow, and the 18th, which is the Saturday, coming up. And when we get to that, if we can show this picture of the worker for a sense of scale on that little pipe, we'll come up to that here next. We're prepping it, apparently. So, anyways, wet dress rehearsal. That's a checklist on the checklist. The check on the checklist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting caught up there on some stuff. We could just show the image. That's a SpaceX released image, Ryan. For that one, we can just show the image. So it's a checkbox on the checklist. Thank you, Just SID. Appreciate it. I'm going to see if I can't, while we hang out, grab a couple more questions. The problem is that there's 18 billion things in the panel right now. A lot of speculation stuff in here. How far is it going to get? When's it going to launch? I know y'all have already covered a lot of that. Quick recap is it's looking... There are some things talking about after Memorial Day, and then there are some things talking about first weeks of June. And Ryan, I know you said your probable realistic estimate is right there into the beginning of June, like the first week of June, if not the second week of June. I just recap that. We don't need to go into details on that. But look at the photo there, y'all. It's like, oh, yeah, that pipe is like an inch wide, right? A couple inches wide. Well, the pipe is about the third of the... can we zoom in on that, Ryan? I don't know if we can. A pipe is about the third of one of those holes, if the holes are consistent in size with this photo. And that guy is leaning... That worker, actually can't tell, is leaning out of that hot stage thing. So when we look at this little pipe that's trying to be aligned, that's the scale of that little pipe.
Can we go... Yeah, once we're done, let's go back to that trailer cam, because it's hard to tell. They might be down by now.
Look at this VMix zooming happening here.
The sense of scale is... Oh,
there you go.
That's down.
Oh,
yeah.
Where's the trapezoid? I don't see the trapezoid anymore. Like the air gap.
Yeah, I don't see the air gap, but I can kind of see where it would be.
Uh-huh.
I think they're fully down now.
Yep.
I think we have a stacked Flight 4 stack.
Well, we've been watching the whole thing. We didn't hear any clunks or see any massive sudden movements, right?
No, I didn't see anything. I think this was a nice smooth stack. It took a little while. It took based off of that about an hour and 20 minutes or so to do it. But it doesn't really you don't really need quickness. You want to make sure it's done right. You don't damage anything. So yeah.
All right. Well, if that is, exactly when is it all the way down? Is it bearing all the load? Yeah, okay. Well, hey, the gap has disappeared. So from our perspective, from our frame of reference, the ship is touching the top of the booster. It sure looks like. I don't know if anybody disagrees with that, but that's a pretty good indicator that the stack is stacked, I think. Oh, they're not adjusting it now, are they? Is that just a seam, Ryan?
I don't know. I don't see a seam. I think it's fully down everywhere.
We just need
I don't know why they would adjust it.
We need a light that turns on. Like when it's down, we need a big light somewhere on the tower to go from red to green or green to red or whatever.
That would be nice.
SpaceX, can we have that? If anybody from SpaceX is watching, can we just get a big green stack contact indicator?
Or go back to the concept of LEDs lining up the columns of the tower.
Yeah.
And basically it's like a loading bar as it's stacked, and the loading bar hits the top and turns green when it's stacked.
Turns green when it's stacked or something? Yeah, I'd like it. Look at the left-hand side now. Is that just the tiles? Because you've got the stainless steel main structure that makes contact, and then the tiles are mounted on the outside of that stainless steel main structure, right? So is that normal on the left-hand side to see that overlap from the tiles?
Yeah, so basically the tiles cover up the steel structure. That lip is the hot stage ring itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go. So there's a little like a border on the top of the hot stage ring it almost looks like it's a rolled edge. I doubt that it's actually rolled. And then the tiles up above that sort of sticking off. So when you look at that, it's not that the stack is misaligned, it's that the tiles actually stick off past the edge of the hot stage ring, right?
Yeah, that's just the tile sticking out.
It's just the tile sticking out. All right, gotcha. A couple people noticed through chat, and I see questions in the queue here, there's tiles missing on the left-hand side. I know we mentioned that earlier. There's still some tile work to be done, but we don't need those tiles for a wet dress rehearsal, do we?
No, you don't need those for a wet dress rehearsal. It'll be just fine without them. There's even more than just those tiles. If you really were to zoom in on the ship, there's a lot of tiles that have markings on them. There's some that look still broken.
Yep.
It's the version 1, block 1 ships, whatever you want to call them. SpaceX is learning how to do those adhesive tiles and the pin tiles. It's a learning process because it's just obviously learning. They're prototype vehicles, but yeah, they're learning. They have to redo a lot of the adhesive ones because I don't think they're exactly prepping the area correctly. Like cleaning it and then applying the adhesive and then putting the tiles on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it's a work in progress. It's a learning thing, and I think everybody would say that tiles are tough. Space is if space is hard, tiles are tougher, right?
Yeah, right.
Re-entry is tougher. Heat, thermal management, and protection is tougher. It's one of the specifically most probable things because the tiles are very much an engineering challenge, right? You've heard me say, rocket science isn't that hard. Rocket science is just math. It's applying the rocket science to the real world that gets difficult. And the tiles are a case study in that. Here's a material that you can fire a blowtorch at, exert these temperatures and pressures. Oh, yeah, look, the material doesn't melt or whatever, right? Now, getting that material to stick to a complicated shape like a Starship or a couple gray pixels, that engineering challenge to make those withstand the forces of flight and getting through reentry and the plasma going around and all that cool stuff we saw, that engineering is the real challenge. So,
yeah. So this is the first stack, obviously, since Flight 3, and it's just over 2 months. So the last stack was March 10th is when they did the last stack for Booster 10 Ship 28.
Yeah.
And now we are on May 15th. So just only 2 months, which is impressive.
Honestly, we'll take it.
Yeah.
I live for a day where we're seeing these things fly every month, every other month. As the cadence increases, it is going to be wild to see these things going off with airliner-like scheduling. Maybe not a few times a day, right, yet, but...
Yeah. Because the 3-7... I know for a fact, airline I work for, we fly our planes up to four times a day, give or take.
Yeah.
With about an hour 10 turnaround between flights. Yeah, I don't know if Starship will ever get there.
It's probably, I don't know that from a single launch pad it'll ever get there, but I could certainly see salvos from multiple pads. We've looked at all these expansions. I don't know if y'all seen the latest Cape flyover we did. Every now and then we get up and we fly over the Cape and we look at expansions and new plans and that sort of stuff. But there are ideas around having lots and lots of towers to launch Starships from, not just one or two, but salvo launches where you can roll out multiple Starships and get lots of launches happening from different towers. So, anyways, folks, there's no way, the store orders keep coming in. There's nothing that I can do to say thank you to every single store order for this right now. I will tell you this. In the first stream with 6,500 people watching, y'all are such Starship fans that we've already sold out more than 10% of the patches that we ordered.
Holy jumping.
This is not the lead up to flight stream. This is not the actual flight day stream. We go through and we're like, all right, how many did we sell last time? How many people show up? How can we make them affordable for people and all this sort of stuff? And with 7,000-ish people watching, y'all are the hardcore fans because y'all are here for the stack, right? It's not game day. This is what's a good analogy, Ryan? Spring training. Not even really that.
Yeah.
They're mowing the grass on the field before the game, maybe, right?
I guess.
And y'all 7,000 people are here watching this, and those 7,000 fans have already bought 10% of the stock that we ordered in the first place.
That's nuts. Like that's.
Yeah.
I don't know how to really describe it. That's utterly nuts. Like, are we gonna have any patches for the launch day?
We will. Yeah, because these are the hardcore fans. Like, these are the most dedicated Starship fans who show up for these things, right?
Yeah.
And then we get it's more incidental stuff. People that show up for launch day, and as the hype starts to build, so there's a very high likelihood that folks watching this stream will want to be in on that patch. And as we get into the bigger things, like next Tuesday, we're probably not selling a lot of patches, right? Well, who knows? Maybe they do something interesting on Tuesday and we stream it. But anyways, I did see, hey, I'll say it real quick. I saw some folks asking about the Flight 3 patches. Y'all all know that we sold out of those Flight 3 patches like they just evaporated. And we don't plan to go back on our word. Like, when we buy these things and we say that they're limited edition, we're not going to sell a bunch and then be like, well, we could make even more money if we just made more of them. We are kicking around ideas to get the previous patch designs in your hands in various mechanisms, but a straight reprint of more Flight 3 patches is not a thing. We are working, like, some orders get returned and shipping doesn't work, and on occasion a couple of those might come back in that didn't make it all the way to their destination. But we're not doing like, oh, we're going to order another 1,000 Flight 3 patches. So when we put out a patch and we say that it says on the screen, limited edition patch, that is what it means. It means we're going to order X number of those patches, and when we're gone, we're gone. We're still looking at stickers too. We talked in depth about how tough it is to make the economics of the stickers work. Like, I don't want to charge y'all $15 for a sticker. That's ridiculous. I think some people would probably pay for it. It's like a $12 sticker, and people would put that in their cart and order it in the shop. And we feel bad. Like a $12 sticker. You know, that doesn't seem right to me. But at lower price points, it's really tough to make the economics of it work because of the way that we run the shop, and we don't carry huge inventories, and we don't have like my mom in a basement pulling things off of a shelf and putting them in envelopes for you, right? Like, that's not how it works. So anyways, we are always looking at cool ways to get designs in your hands. We're always looking at different price points. We don't want to make it so that only certain people can afford to do this or have a patch or whatever, right? We try to put all sorts of different ways and price levels that folks can participate and support us and get cool merch and that sort of stuff. So we did with the prints. Did y'all see that? That we started doing some prints as not just metal prints, and we actually have paper prints and like canvas prints that come in at I think it's a third the cost or something of the metal prints, so that more people could put it on their walls. So anyways, I cannot say thank you for all. Of course, we're going to bring the Cybertruck up here. Vacuum Raptor. Anyways, that's enough talk about merch, y'all. Mostly since I'm one of the folks that makes decisions about merch, I want to explain it like it's coming straight from the horse's mouth when I talk about how we decide on merch. But whatever, y'all keep showing up. Hopefully you get cool stuff to wear and cool stuff to put on your wall or your bag or whatever you want to do with it. Makes it so. Was that a Flight 1 patch that somebody just ordered? It is.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. We'll come up with ideas. SpaceX fanboy, I don't know the answer to that. What will be the last patch that we make? Like, if Starship is flying once a week or multiple times a day. Yeah, okay. When are we going to stop making patches? I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that. Huh.
But collect them all. You need all the Infinity Stones.
Like Pokemon, right?
Yeah. Or Pokemon. You know.
Either way, I don't think they said gotta catch them all when it came to Infinity Stones, did they?
No, not that I remember.
A bumper sticker. That's an interesting idea, Gene.
Ooh.
Huh. Anyways, folks, it looks like it's down. Did the light up and are all the lights blinking and saying that the Fullstack is now stuck in SpaceX stack control or whatever? It's tough to say, but we do not observe a gap in between the ship and the booster. And it looks like that is the full stack for Flight 4. Ryan, let's set some expectations, though. Is it going to come back down again? Based on past experience, we would expect this, or we would not expect this to be destacked before the flight actually happens.
Well, I expect it to be destacked before the flight. The question is does SpaceX do a wet dress before destacking it right now? I expected to destack and roll back. I don't know if Booster 11 will roll back because there are no more work stands open inside the Mega Bay. They moved Booster 14 from the turntable to the stand that Booster 11 was on. So I think 11 will stay out there.
Yeah.
With that Marine Safety Information Bulletin out, they may keep this stacked and do a wet dress this weekend.
Yeah.
And then destack and roll back is what they might do. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what they do. Obviously, it's one of the biggest things in Starbases.
Yep.
Just watch.
I think the headline is we would expect the ship to come back down again for the additional work before it actually flies. Like, the fact that it's up there right now doesn't mean that it's going on Tuesday or anything like that. Like, the launch is not happening. We would expect it to come back down again. We've got FTS work. I don't think we've seen FTS work on it, or even people marching around the bunker or anything, right? Those tiles that need to go on, reaching different areas of the ship, etc., etc. It's the full stack. Enjoy it while it's here. It's going to come back down, then it's going to go back up again. But all of these things are marching us towards that Flight 4.
Indeed,
Nice.
They are.
All right. Get caught up here. See if I missed anything else. Like I said, folks, I can't get through all the store messages. I can't even get them all to display on the stream. Do y'all have any feedback on the stuff? Like, every now and then we swap designs and we put it on the front, or we put it on the back, or we put it on the sleeve. Like, while I'm here asking questions, do y'all in chat, like the ultra cool viewers who are here for the stack, have any feedback on that? Like the patch design, anybody have any feedback for us while I'm here? It's always good to ask. Your first patch, Ambrose? Nice. We have to keep talking because it takes a second to show up in chat. We can't just be quiet and wait for a response.
It gets a little awkward silences, you know?
Patch is epic. Best patch yet. I'm like 3 weeks and 5. I like that, Steven. Yeah, it's not, the walls aren't closing in. Like, the calendar is ticking forward. The clock is ticking forward, right? Let's send it patch. You bought 2 already. It's good. The patches are awesome. You like the new designs. It's cool. A lot of positive feedback. You really got to say thank you to Pauline, y'all. Pauline makes these designs, and every single time Pauline is knocking it out of the park. So
it's utterly amazing. It's just each patch just gets better and better. It's like,
yeah,
what? How? It's like, it's amazing.
Yep. We got the emotes. And, we have a little thing where we Pauline was actually showing the designs sort of in a line, and if you put all these designs next to each other, like you can do with the emotes. There it is. Jellybean just did it in chat. It just looks cool. Like, they look like they don't look like anything. They are like professional collectors patches proper. We're not making 18 billion of these to hand out for free on the side of the road. Like, they're proper. All right, we like the stinger.
I love it. It is good. The animation's fantastic.
Oh, jeez. Anyways. Okay. Well, what else is happening out at Starbase? Let's do a little bit of a roundup. We already released Starbase Update on Monday. If y'all haven't seen that, make sure you click on the channel and go find it. We'll have This Week in Spaceflight come up on Friday. We've got launch streams, coverage, and Starlinks. And, I don't even have to check the calendar, and I can just be like, yeah, we'll be covering Starlink later this week. I should probably check the calendar and make sure there is a Starlink, but I didn't even look. I'm just like, yeah, we'll be doing that Starlink launch that's coming up. Any other rollouts or testing that we haven't already talked about, Ryan, as we sort of come up on the end of our chat
Tonight should be another tower section. Then the 17th will be another one.
That's right.
And then the 19th will be another one. And then the final one should be the 20th.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember of any of the other road closures. Let me pull it up here. It's been a minute. Everything changes. Yeah, and then we have a road closure for tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Don't know if they're going to use it. They may use it to do a small cryo load. That they could. Yeah, that's the other thing. They could use it to do a small cryo load to test, and then do the full wet dress on Saturday with the Marine Safety Information Bulletin posted. So we'll have to watch out for more road closures to be posted on that.
Yeah. I think that the moral of the story is that if y'all like being a part of the community here and hanging out, you know where to be. Like, we're watching over on Starbase Live, something big and interesting, and we've got folks to talk about it. We'll do a dedicated stream like this one for the full stack. But the entire ecosystem of ways that we keep y'all up to date with what's going on, whether you're on the socials, like we have all the different social media places you can catch up with. I think there's a command you can click to go check those out. Here on the streams, chatting with us on Starbase Live, in the member disc, like all the different places. Y'all know where to go if you want to keep up with what's going on out at Starbase. But I think for now, we are going to go ahead and spool down our live commentary of the stack. Will it stay up there the rest of the day? Will it be around for a wet dress rehearsal tomorrow or Saturday? Check the Marine bulletins and all the different things, the tea leaves that we try to read to figure out what's going on at Starbase. I'm going to have to schedule a trip for myself here, coming up pretty shortly, it looks like. But either way you slice it, folks, thanks so much for hanging out with us here as we watch the full stack for Flight 4 and all the support that came into the shop. And Anonymous just says, I've been watching since SN5 Hop. Thanks for all your hard work. Looking forward to Flight 4. From SN5 Hop all the way to Flight 4, y'all are an absolutely fantastic community. And as long as y'all keep showing up, we will keep showing up to share with y'all what's going on out at Starbase. That's not even proper English, I don't think. Share with y'all what's going on. Whatever. I need to be on more streams so I can remember how to talk. Let's go ahead and bring this stream commentary to an end. We're going to send you over to Starbase Live, folks, where you can continue to chat with like-minded space nerds and probably watch 8% of the screen be taken up by store orders for the next hour or two. But that's what we're going to do. Ryan, thank you so much for hanging out with us here.
It's a pleasure as always, Das. You know, I worked all night last night, but I'll always have the energy to get up and do a Starbase stream. It's always fun.
Alrighty, and then earlier y'all heard from Chris. It's always a fantastic pleasure to hear Chris on here. His level of excitement for things beyond Starship point-to-point. I was hearing him talk about the Mars base Alpha and the 1,000,000 tons to Mars and stuff like that. Like Chris hopping on and being able to share his enthusiasm for all things space is always a good thing to hear. There he is, managing editor. There's a little tag for him up there. Who else was on the stream? Ryan was clicking buttons, wasn't he? Ryan Caton was here as well. Hey, look at that. Selfie in his little image tag. It says Mr. Matboy now. Nice. He did that to himself too. He clicked the button to display that and did not know what it was going to display.
That's amazing.
Oh, jeez. There's always such a huge team of people helping out, folks. People doing SBL. Jack and Sean and Mary out there in the field. So many people make these things happen. I'm going to stop talking for now. The fact that you don't see me on so many streams is because the NSF team has such a wide skill set. They're able to bring you all of these experience and all this stuff without me a lot of the times. But if you haven't heard my voice in a while, I'm Das. Real name's John Galloway for NSF here. And we're going to go ahead and spool this stream down. This has my Twitch stream on there still. Jeez. Not even a thing. But that's going to be the end of our stream today. Thank y'all so much for supporting everything we do. Enjoy your patches. Should be a little bit before they start shipping, but enjoy them when they appear in your mailboxes. And we will see you nerds later. Thanks for being a part of it, folks.
And here we go.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, planet. Mighty Counter, SPD off. Say again, SPD off.
It's orange! R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?